Hello everyone, my name is Tasia Howe and this is my discussion on teaching methods. The method that I chose was called communicative language teaching. The main goal is to focus to communicate knowledge and have skills that are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Teachers' role in teaching this communicative language method is to act as a facilitator, a motivator for the students, and a less dominating area for more room to be uplifting to the students. And the different characteristics are fostering peer interaction, proper pronunciation, and it's okay to have error in these methods because the students are there to grow and to learn from one another, and the facilitator acting as a teacher as well. The main components of this method is the teacher, as mentioned before, act as a facilitator and helps have students create or think about real life discussions with students. So they're not doing surface level thinking, they're also going deep down and really thinking about real discussions and then sharing that with their peers. It's a learning centered method. Students are agreed to have free communication, and that looks like with agreeing or disagreeing with the assignment or complaining about whatever the discussion is, and it's just fostering adapting a real conversation between the peers, as mentioned before. It has some social context. Is to use with students to grasp a concept like language games, learning activities, and inappropriate responses. Like I said before, it is very freeing and is very giving students a voice to think about, whatever topic that is being discussed that lesson for that day. And last but not least is an approach that leads to a natural language accusations. So all in all, it just goes to show that this method just creates open discussion, natural language between their peers, and the teacher is not really acting as a dominator in this method. They're really acting as they are facilitating the space, they're asking these students these questions or helping them discussing the topic that is at hand, and just helping them deep dive in their mind and actually talk about real issues. So the lesson plan consists of a grade, 5th grade. The subject is language arts, and the lesson's objectives are students will be able to have group discussions on the different reading of Harriet Tubman. Students will be communicating to their own experience to their peers related to Harriet Tubman's life. The class content consists of whole group instruction, followed by working with peers with role play, and the assessment would consist of an exit ticket. So the meat of the lesson plan, it will first start off with a whole group discussion. The teacher would introduce and describe the 3 different stories that talk about Harriet Tubman's life and what she did on the earth to serve others. The different stories are: she was a working spy in the Underground Railroad. She also served as a nurse to the veterans that served in the Army. And she was also a caretaker for the rest of her life for 48 years to people with disabilities. After the teacher introduces what the stories are consistent of, she will describe what the stories talk about to the students and ask the question what the students think of the different stories, like how can they relate that to their own life. So it's already putting in their mind that, hey, I'm gonna think about this, and I still have to say how does this relate to my life? How does these 3 different stories relate to my own life experiences? And then they'll transition into students in pairs of 2. So the teacher will either count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 to split them up, or they will give them free will to choose whatever partner they want to be open with in discussing their real life experiences. So in these pairs, each student will be given a story that they feel connects with them. So whether it be the story of her working as a spy, a nurse, or a caretaker, they have free will to choose which story they want to connect with and talk about with their peers. The teacher will also walk around and help facilitate the conversation between the students. So the teacher is not sitting down or doing something other than helping around and trying to get them to discuss or help them find the words to connect the life experience of Harriet Tubman. So after the students will get familiar, they will act out what they read from the story and emphasize the work Harriet Tubman had done. So once they have read the story and made connections with Harriet Tubman through their own life experience, they will role play from the story what that actually looked like. So this will emphasize not only having a real conversation and relating it to their own life experience, but displaying it and role playing, so it can just get them in their mind and actually taking that deep dive thinking into role play. And then once they're done with the role playing, they will be presenting it to the class. And the class, so the pairs will be going up in the classroom, and the audience, after they're done, the audience will be saying comments about their peers role playing and trying to see like how the role playing will relate to their own experience, and basically just praising them on how well they did the role playing, and the teacher will do that as well. And I want to emphasize that it's positive feedback and not negative feedback, because we want to encourage students to have free will and build their confidence into speaking on real life experience, especially with this story. So this will help students giving their peers positive feedback instead of negative feedback. And then after the presentations, they will follow up with an exit ticket, which will also be their assessments. They'll be given an index card to jot down which story relates to them in their real life. So in the beginning, in the whole group instruction, the teacher did ask, how does this relate to you in your own life, and why? So it's basically like just having the students pour out on paper, how does it, even though it's surface level, explaining how it relates to them, but we want to emphasize like how, in a deep level, how does it relate, and give it to the teacher while they're walking out. So it's basically testing on how the role playing done with them, and also like the whole group instruction and how the teacher introduced it. Okay, and that is it with my presentation. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.